We know season 3 of The Boys is coming, but the only issue is we don't know when. So while we wait to see where Butcher and his bevy of Vought battlers go, let's go over some of the questions from the past 2 seasons that we need answers to, and spoilers for both seasons if you're not caught up yet. Let's start with the head exploder reveal from season 2. So, Vicki Neuman is an adaptation of Victor Neuman, who was the CEO of Vought turned vice president turned president. Now, a resume like that would make you think that he's some sort of cold-hearted tactician with ambitions of world domination, but no, he's actually incredibly stupid and was just used as a pawn. Victoria, on the other hand, seems to be going a different route. All throughout season 2, she was firmly against Vought, and while her political ambitions outside of her congresswoman duties weren't really into that, a shot at the big seat doesn't seem to be too far out of the question. For season 3 though, we need to know exactly where her alliances lie. Since she is a Supe, she was obviously made by Vought, but is she leading the anti-Vought rhetoric from the inside to contain it and direct it as a mole, or does she have other plans? My favorite character from season 2, until all the German World War II stuff that I can't see on YouTube, was definitely Stormfront, and with the way she ended up in the finale, you'd think that she'd be done for. However, when it comes to Supes, until they're in the ground, you shouldn't count them out. Especially since the showrunner has already said that even with all the damage she took, she's still alive. Now, we know that some Supes have a healing factor when we see Stormfront tank a blast from Homelander, but whether or not she can regen limbs and the significant amount of burns she got from Ryan are another story. Vought knows that they can't just have Stormfront out and about since she's a liability, so keeping her alive no matter what state she's in is an interesting one. Maybe she'll keep corrupting Homelander, which I know seems impossible, but given that they love to up the ante with each season, I'm sure that they've got something up their sleeves for this one. Another character who may have defeated death itself is Lamplighter. Now, this one requires more speculation, and I know just how much you guys love speculation, but yes, we did in fact see Lamplighter immolate himself, but as a dude who can manipulate fire, this seems like a fairly easy thing to come back from. In the comics, Lamplighter came back from a headshot from Mallory, so with a little infusion of Compound V, it doesn't seem like healing from some burns would be that hard, and with some more insight from the showrunner, he's even said that he was upset that they snuffed out Lamplighter's flame so early, so maybe he'll get a comic-style resurrection. Just without all the zombification though, that would be nice. Now, let's talk about the superpowered baby that is Homelander. Over the past 2 seasons, he's been broken down and forced to come to the realization that with all that power he's got, he's still not as powerful as he thinks he is. I mean, he could definitely still take over the world, but you know, his mental really doesn't seem to be in it. So, where does he go from here? He's lost his son, the mother of his son, and the bad influence of a girlfriend, although that might not be true, but you know what I mean. Giving him a redemption arc at least this early would be whack! Of course, with Stan Edgar and Neuman, there will still be some form of shadowy dealings to keep it interesting, but what makes Homelander interesting, and not the evil Superman clone that people keep trying to compare him to, is that he's constantly in conflict with what he wants to do. He's constantly hesitating and being outplayed even when he thinks he's got the game figured out. There's even genuine moments where you can tell he cares about people, at least the ones that he's close to, but then he lets a plane of people see Atlantis, and the last time we see him, he's enjoying his favorite 3 a.m. activity, so, you know, it's complicated. To me, I think he's gonna dig into the more negative aspects of himself in season 3, and if he does decide to take over, he'll definitely do it in a big way. One character from season 2 that is a big problem that season 3 can't just skim past is Cindy. If you don't remember, she's got a similar power to Neuman, except she liquefies the whole body and not just the head, so, you know, more dangerous, and just has telekinetic abilities to do whatever with. We don't know the exact extent to her powers, but if Akira told me anything, you shouldn't let people with those type of powers just walk around. Maybe she could actually turn out to be the main baddie, or she could help fight Vought since she was held in one of their facilities. They really could do anything with her since she's inspired by a minor character in the comics anyway. Maybe we'll only get a scene of her chilling on a ranch or something. That could be nice too. So, with Stormfront out and Black Noir nursing his allergy to nuts, there's only 4 members of the 7 that we can count on at the start of season 3. Homelander, Starlight, Queen Maeve, and that boy A-Train. If Black Noir is anything like his comic self, I'm sure he'll be back even with his mortal enemy Nuts on the loose, which will bring us up to 5. The Deep could make a return to the 7, but he could just stay in Middle America or whatever, so we need to fill 2 spots. We know that Soulja Boy, no relation, is going to make his debut in season 3, and with him being the very first Supe, his reintroduction seems like membership worthy to me, so then we're going to be looking at only 1 more spot. We've seen a lot of different other heroes, but Tech Knight, the resident stand-in for your billionaire who thinks crime fighting is the best use of his time, seems like a good fit, at least for now. Now, in the comics, Tech Knight has a very big problem, and since Herogasm, which I'm sure your imagination can run wild with, is being introduced in Season 3, it might be time for Mr. Knight to suit up. Or suit down. He can go both ways. So, with the 7 taken care of, what about the boys? Season 2 left everyone going their own way, but we can't have the boys without the boys, so how are they gonna come back together to give Vought a really bad time? Most likely, it'll be because Neuman gives Huey some bad vibes while they're working together, and he'll have to get Butcher to get the band back together, but that's a safe answer, so let's make it a little spicier. One thing that I think could be interesting is that there's more auditions to join the 7, and it leads Butcher to realize that Vought is ramping up for something, since he's a paranoid insert word that he loves to use here. Butcher goes to Huey first to get him back because he knows that he'll be the one who'll be the hardest to get since he's made peace with everything and isn't trying to throw away the little new life he has for Butcher to curse at him every 5 minutes. Which then leads to Butcher and the rest of the squad to carry out missions that eventually lead to Neuman, who Huey is going to defend since he actually thinks she's a good person until it's revealed that she's not, and then, chaos ensues. Or it's something like Vaught's making a play at being a part of the US government again. Hopefully it's not that again, but, whatever. What can you do? There's still one more dangerous Supe out there that we haven't talked about, and that's Ryan Butcher. Now, Baby Butcher went through a lot in Season 2, and for a little kid, it would be a miracle for him to turn out well-adjusted, and since this is The Boys, that unfortunately probably won't happen. But what exactly is gonna happen with him? He's in much better hands with the CIA than with Vought. Wait, never mind. That's actually not true. In fact, it could even be worse, especially since there's no way they wouldn't be training him to be their own little version of Homelander, or at the very least, a Homelander deterrent. Well, okay, maybe he's at least getting regular visits from Butcher. Wait, no, that's another bad influence. Okay, so it's not looking too good for Baby Butcher, but all we can do is hope. As long as he gets to keep doing those stop-motion Lego videos, I think we can still hold out some hope for him. Okay, so now for the last 2 seasons, Vought has been trying to put out fires that they keep making, and with Stan Edgar still leading from Season 2, we have to see if he can turn that ship around. In the comics, Edgar is more like a figurehead and is unseen with Stillwell operating from the shadows. In the show, he's already proven to be way more hands-on and way more powerful than any of the corpos we've seen so far. He seems to really only care about Vaught's bottom line, and all throughout Season 2 specifically, he seems to always have things in control, even if no one's around watching him. Well, that we know of at least. It's clear that he values Compound V over the Supes themselves, so maybe he'll be moving the shift towards the 7 being less relevant in order to facilitate that. For me, none of that really matters, because I just want to see Giancarlo Esposito. Everything else is highly irrelevant. Finally, let's talk about the introduction of someone that we know for a fact is coming, Soulja Boy. Again, no relation. Now, there's a lot that it seems like this adaptation is going to do away with, like his relationship with Homelander, and apparently his cowardice, as he's supposed to be even worse than Homelander, which, what does that even mean by now? Anyway, we already talked about how he could be introduced, but since Soulja Boy is a legacy title, which means multiple people have had that name, this could be an entirely different incarnation. Considering, though, that the version of Soulja Boy that we see the most in the comics has a desperate need to join the 7, it makes sense that that could be what thrusts him into Season 3. We still don't have a release date for Season 3 as of this writing, but with studios getting a better grasp at filming and hopefully things getting back to a pre-2020 schedule, I'd say that this comes out around summer or late 2022. Let us know what you're looking forward to the most in Season 3 and something YouTube keywords.